Isabella inherits her grandmother's old house, an isolated and decaying building in a remote region. Skeptical of ghost stories and curses, she decides to turn the house into her art studio. While exploring the dusty attic, she finds a locked diary in a chest. The cover is made of black leather, adorned with strange and disturbing symbols. Curiosity overcomes fear, and Isabella opens the diary. The pages are filled with frantic handwriting, describing macabre rituals, demonic invocations, and the awakening of an ancestral presence. As Isabella reads, she feels a chill down her spine and realizes that the house reacts to the words in the diary. Shadows move, objects fall, and whispers echo through the hallways. At first, Isabella believes it's just her imagination, but reality becomes increasingly tangible. The presence manifests subtly, turning off lights, moving her paintbrushes, and whispering her name in the middle of the night. Gradually, the presence becomes more aggressive, tearing her canvases, scratching the walls with obscene messages, and terrifying Isabella with grotesque visions. One night, Isabella wakes up with the diary open on her chest, the words glowing in red. The presence dominates her, forcing her to write new entries in the diary, describing her deepest fears and darkest desires. Isabella realizes she is no longer an artist, but a vessel, a portal for the evil entity residing in the diary. In a moment of clarity, she attempts to destroy the diary, but is stopped by the presence, which tortures her with visions of her mutilated and dead loved ones. Desperate, Isabella succumbs to the presence's control. She dresses in a black gown and paints her face with red paint, transforming into a grotesque version of her grandmother. In the dead of night, Isabella walks to the house's basement, where she performs the final ritual described in the diary. With a piercing scream, she offers herself as a sacrifice, opening a portal for the presence to fully manifest. The house is consumed by an infernal light, and the world will never be the same again. Lucas is obsessed with his appearance. He spends hours admiring himself in the mirror, searching for perfection in every detail. One day, he finds an old hand mirror in an antique shop. The mirror has a tarnished silver frame and a sinister glow. Intrigued, Lucas buys the mirror and takes it home. At first, the mirror seems to enhance his beauty, making him even more attractive and desirable. However, over time, Lucas begins to notice something is wrong. His reflection starts to behave strangely, displaying mischievous smiles and lustful looks. Lucas tries to ignore it, but the image becomes bolder, exaggerating his movements and whispering insults in his ear. The terror sets in when Lucas realizes the image is becoming independent. It begins to move freely within the mirror, disobeying his commands and mocking his vanity. One night, Lucas wakes up to find the image standing next to his bed, watching him with a predatory grin. The image attacks him, trying to suffocate him with its own hands. Lucas desperately fights against the image, but it is stronger and more agile. In a moment of panic, Lucas grabs the mirror and throws it against the wall, shattering it into 1,000 pieces. The image screams in agony and dissolves into black smoke. Lucas, exhausted and terrified, collapses on the bed, swearing never to look into a mirror again. The next day, when Lucas wakes up, he faces an even greater nightmare. His face is distorted, his eyes empty, and his skin is covered in scars. The image has possessed him, corrupting his soul and transforming him into an abomination. Lucas runs to the bathroom, but there are no mirrors. They have all been removed, replaced by opaque surfaces. Lucas realizes, too late, that the image was not destroyed, but absorbed by him. He is now the mirror, and his soul is trapped in a hell of vanity and horror. Sophia accepts a job as a nanny in an old Victorian mansion. The family is wealthy and eccentric, and the house has a dark and unsettling atmosphere. The child's parents leave her alone with Sophia, warning her not to enter the attic and to never leave the child alone. On the first night, Sophia hears strange noises coming from the attic. Ignoring the warning, she decides to investigate. Upon opening the door, she finds a dusty, abandoned room filled with old toys and eerie dolls. In the center of the room, sitting in a rocking chair, is a ghostly child. The child introduces herself as the former resident of the house, who died many years ago in a mysterious fire. She begs Sophia to help her find her mother, who abandoned her in the attic and left her to die. Moved by the child's story, Sophia decides to help her. Together they explore the house in search of the mother, facing shadows, whispers, and disturbing visions. As they get closer to the truth, Sophia realizes that the child is not as innocent as she seems. She has a cold, fixed stare, and her smiles are filled with malice. Sophia begins to suspect the child, fearing that she is manipulating her for her own purposes. On the last night, Sophia and the child reach the basement of the house. There they find a macabre altar, covered in blood and adorned with satanic symbols. In the center of the altar lies the mummified body of the child's mother, with her eyes ripped out and her mouth sewn shut. The child reveals that she is responsible for her mother's death, a sacrifice to summon an evil entity. Sophia tries to escape, but is stopped by the child, who transforms into a grotesque, demonic creature. The child attacks her, attempting to rip out her eyes and sew her mouth shut. Sophia fights desperately, but is overpowered by the creature. In a final act of resistance, Sophia screams the name of the child's mother, invoking her wrath and vengeance. The mother's spirit manifests, trapping the child in an eternal embrace. Both are consumed by hellish flames, vanishing forever. Sophia, traumatized and bloodied, flees the house, swearing never to approach children again. However, the horror will follow her forever, haunting her dreams and tormenting her soul. The Forgotten Child Will Never Be Forgotten by Sophia. For more spine-chilling stories, follow our channel, like and share, so we know you enjoyed the content and can bring you even more stories like this. See you in the next video.